Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, I had OMAT this morning. We do it every weekday, of course. This OMAT club standing for 1 minute at a time. Chemda put it together, and it has bettered my life. That's not an exaggeration. And it's really started me up. Like I'm feeling extra productive as opposed to the weekend.
It starts me up too. I know that I'm the one putting it together, but the thought process in the morning changes when we have to be there at OMAT, and I love it.
I do have a question, though. One of the exercises is meditation. You meditate for 1 minute.
Yes.
And this seems to be where people struggle, as opposed to, let's say, your life's shitty right now and you have to find gratitude. That's an exercise, as opposed to a physical plank. She puts real exercises in there, not just hippy dippy exercises, right? That I can understand that being hard for people. It seems one of the hardest things is the meditation minute.
Isn't that funny?
But so now I'm wondering, am I doing it wrong? Because I find it so fucking easy. There is nothing in this head if I don't want it to be.
You know, what's funny is a lot of times I say we're going to agree that nothing or nobody needs your attention for 1 minute. You believe that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like done. They can have two.
Yeah. Like, you talk about when you see fights on the street and they just began. You talk about how people always jump in to separate the people. And your joke is, hey, I was watching that. Why are you changing the channel? And so I feel like your average person might want to butt in and see if they could make something go better, if they just talk to people or reason things out. You're cool just going like, let them fight. And it turns out that's makes you comfortable with meditation.
So am I a next level meditator? Am I naturally good at it? That nothing's there for 60s. I mean, nothing. I'm not thinking about deliveries. I'm not thinking about the show. It's just a 1 minute of breathing. Is this like guru shit I'm on?
I think that I would say everything is perspective, and you could think that you are the best meditator or you're a sociopath or anything in between. We're all going to be able to see whatever's on that spectrum. And then you could agree to what it is, which means that you're agreeing that you're the greatest in the world and you accomplish things that way. So congratulations.
If scientists put electrodes on my heads, you would all see I'm not exaggerating. I would be the king of this. I don't know. Craig's giving me like a joke hard time at me saying I'm good at poker when I concentrate.
Okay. And you've been insufferable ever since you recognized it.
Yes, because I am getting first place when we play. And Craig said, oh, Keith won 7 times in a row. So he thinks he can I bet he thinks, and he made this up, but he's like, but he was right. I bet he thinks he could take on the world and be the best poker. No, 7 games in a row, not even interesting. I don't think if a football team did 7 games in a row, they'd even mention it in the papers. It might be pretty good.
You might be, yeah. And I remember my response to it. We were on a video call playing poker with in a private room with some friends. And my response is, hey, let's make sure we all remember Keith is the only one on this call who has never even considered killing himself.
Thank you.
People.
Yeah.
Who do you know? Who do you know that can say that? Like not even in your teenage years. And it's it's a different mindset. And maybe that helps you meditate. Yeah.
And it needs studied because I think those two things are related. Here's what Shoe Booty says about OMAT. OMAT got me through some of the roughest pandemic shit. Isolation, anxiety, overwhelming things. OMAT, along with some therapy, and now hearing Chemda's gentle tone in my head, quote, and drink a little water. My shit is together. Yeah, she tricks you. Chemda tricks you. She's like, you don't have to do a plank, but just get down and do the plank. 5 seconds. Just kidding. Don't waste your time. It's a minute.
I love it. Just when you like do that weird quoting of people, it is funny to see it come your way. If anyone has ever enjoyed Keith paraphrasing you, wow.
Yeah, people go, that's not what I said, Keith. I'm like, I was pretty fucking close. I'm conquering things I procrastinate on. Doing something for 1 minute leads you to feeling empowered to doing more shit for other minutes too. It's a trick, they say, but a great trick. Of course it is. With OMAT, I realized I'm capable of doing so much more than the bare minimum. I enrolled in college to pursue my passion, and I'm working hard to get my environmental science degree. You got to hurry, though. The fucking planet's falling apart.
You'll have a job, right?
Yeah. OMAT helps me tackle things and stay centered. Between working full-time, going to college, being a mom in a pandemic, I'd been feeling behind on the 8 ball on everything. I'd been so used to my life feeling like chaos that now when everything is together and I'm all caught up, it's a weird feeling at first. Weird feeling at first. There's got to be a trick. I must be missing something crucial that's going to bite me in the ass later. After getting comfortable with trusting that I really am getting things done, I don't have that worry of disorganization in the back of my head. All right. Join OMAD. I'm telling you this. Stop thinking about it. Join now. If you're Keith McGraw VIP, check your dashboard for a discount. A free week or even a free month you can get of OMAD Club. Go to keithandthegirl.com/VIP to check out our discount codes. Join OMAD Club, keithandthegirl.com/OMAD, OMAT. Okay? All right.
That makes me sing shoe booty. I don't know how to express that this system, these exercises is really what helped me get through the open heart surgery, the giant tumor, the emotions that come from it, the divorce starting, a few months later. All this, I couldn't really breathe except for 1 minute at a time. So I developed this program.
I think you'll like it. I do like it, and I was a little nervous. It'd be, some spiritual, how you doing? But it seems like it's common sense. All right. But it's not common if you don't have it.
Oh,
okay. Today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. We mentioned this website a little bit ago, and now we're talking to the guy himself. The website is Date Colin O'Brien, COLINOBRIEN. It's
Definitely
Colin
go
O'Brien.
there. Yeah, sorry to step on your introduction, but I do want people to go to datecolinobrien.com and sort of follow along. Yeah. So
I
again,
think it's better
welcome.
that way. You can keep score at home this way.
Right. How you doing,
Thanks
Colin?
for having me. I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And we definitely contacted you based on your contact information on the website. And I thought, if this guy doesn't get back to me in a decent amount of time, you're flaky and I'm not connecting you with anybody. And I don't even know why I contacted you. I mean, there's some heavy weight on this. We of course want to talk to you all about every single page in this website. It's fascinating. I think this might be the way of the future, instead of just putting a profile on every single app and logging in, scrolling this and that. I think that we are working on, even when people have children, they try to get the .com, like that kind of thing. It might be the future to just post your dating information, your stats. I love that you have on there, which COVID test, vaccine you took. These are the questions, right? So what was your dating life before this website?
Well, I want to quickly say that when you say it's the future, somebody who just had a child and named the child Colin O'Brien sent me a picture of a little baby Colin O'Brien and asked if he could have the website after I was done using it. So I think it really might be the way of the future. And it was a cute little baby. And so of course I said yes, but it's crazy.
It is funny, by the way, when we're learning about sex and learning about gender. It's like, I know my kid's going to need this. Let me, can I? It's going to want to date right away.
In line. Yeah, everyone knows what it's like dating right now. It can be very frustrating in COVID and the dating apps and just how it's all evolving. And so I have had on again, off again success, but was really not ever finding success with the apps. I was always just kind of meeting people at work or in real life or whatever. And I think COVID really put that to a stop. And a buddy of mine,
you had time to actually create a website.
Yeah, I suddenly also had time to create a website and wasn't, out and about as much, meeting people in a social setting. So a buddy of mine had been making a joke about this kind of concept for a long time, about creating a website or a dating app with just one eligible bachelor. And I had been kind of chirping back at him that he was never going to do it, but that I would actually make it. And he said, go ahead and do it. And so I got the URL.
What a funny prank that you challenged yourself through your friend to do yourself. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Do you dare me? Because I don't think you're going to take my dare. I'll take my dare.
Yes, exactly. And then it's been a wild ride ever since the website kind of dropped.
Well, there's two websites. Not many people know that. You can go to Date Colin O'Brien. He also has Fuck Colin O'Brien. If you just want to find him behind a dumpster, even less questions asked.
You kid, but I actually have purchased HateColinO'Brien.com.
Okay.
So that when I inevitably break someone's heart or offend somebody, they can go and submit a negative review, and it'll all be available to the public.
Do you think? Yeah.
I was going to say, Handa asks about dating before the site. What was your longest relationship?
About a year.
Okay.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. Do you think that your exes are upset with you? Because you're joking about hate ColinO'Brien.com, but like, it almost seems like if we really get real, we don't like our exes. And very few people are actually friends with them. And even if they are friends, when was the last time you got in touch? Then when you get in a new relationship, how cool would that be? Like, it's just so much weight. Would you say that your exes would endorse dating you?
I originally had one of the testimonials was from one of my exes, and it was she gave me a 7 out of 10
Okay.
on dating me, and I thought that was good enough. But then once it went viral, she felt like she was getting too much attention and didn't like people constantly asking her about dating me. So
What?
she asked for it to be taken off. So I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of former girlfriends like do sort of click like on the Instagram posts and stuff, but I'm sure that for other people it's like traumatic. It's like this guy is way too ridiculous, and this is the person that I remember and didn't want to remember.
Well, I would need, if my ex gave me 7 out of 10, I would need the criteria. How did you get to 7? We already gave me a 7. I could live with that. Now I need to know, was it more looks, more funny, more thoughtful? Like, where was that department? Where's the 3 points? Where did you lose those?
Did
you
say?
Find out?
She didn't say, but of course I can always imagine for myself.
What do you think? What would all your exes, I'm not saying it's but how many people would be able to say something, and do they have something in common? What is your negative trait? I think
I try to put some of this stuff on the website. I think that I can be, sort of a compulsive need to people to like me, and there's an insecurity and a clinginess that comes from that, and not always being sure of the situation. I think that can be exhausting for people.
I think that if you have something called dateme.com, that we know you want to be liked. Like this is, right. And I think it just who doesn't want to be liked anymore? So what kind of lengths would you go to be liked is clearly this website. But was that annoying to your exes?
I think it gets to a point. Yes. I think that's feedback I've heard.
Like what? You're too nice.
Colin, I'm not mad at you. Stop asking me if I'm mad at you.
Okay.
When you said the regular apps didn't work, you just weren't being clicked on, or going on dates from these apps went south?
I was getting very few matches, but I would get some. But those were never materializing into actual dates. It was like there's almost like a sabermetrics to it. It's like I'm getting, I'm like 1 in every 100 people I'll match with, which is I think actually fairly normal for a lot of men on dating apps. And
keep
then
telling yourself that.
If I get 10, if I get 10 matches, it's like one conversation is happening from that. And then like a few people would agree to meet up and then it would flake. And so I was just like, I'm sure that I could play that game for all eternity and go on 2 dates or something, but I wanted to come up with something more creative and take matters into my own hands.
Are people not flaking now?
No. Well, some people do bail at the last minute, and it's mostly been because of the sort of media attention that the website has been getting. I think some people are not super, they don't want me to come on the podcast and talk about them. So that's, a handful of people cancel, but for the most part, no, people aren't flaking.
It's funny. There's a line, isn't there? Like, I found it charming that you're selling date Colin O'Brien underwear, but do you have to go to like media and shit? That's where it gets too desperate for me. Like that's weird. But your stats there: 220 pounds. You're right. 5'10". Your tax bracket, you say, is $40,000 to $85.5 thousand a year. That's a pretty big gap, but it's good to know that you're sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah. The gap they should take up with the IRS. I didn't choose the size of the gap. And
you're 29 years old. Is being 30 is that something? Is the clock ticking? Does that have anything to do with the site?
Doesn't feel like it yet. I'm still about 6 months out, so I'm not feeling the 30 jitters, but maybe a psychiatrist would say that this is me being reflexively afraid of turning 30.
Are you concerned that you took the Johnson & Johnson vaccine?
No.
Excellent. Okay, so here are the cons.
I was joking because I launched the site. It kind of launched it in April and then redid some stuff, and it went much bigger when I redid some stuff. When I first launched it was like the week they shut down Johnson & Johnson for 7 days. And I was telling people that the reason why they shut it down was because of this freak side effect where one person made a dating website for themselves. Right. And they said that was just 1 in 7 million was just too much for them to mess around with. And so they shut it down.
You have a really good sense of humor about this, which I think is the big question here. How seriously is he taking himself when he actually has a sincere website that you could contact him to date him? Here are the cons. Needs to be liked by everyone. We discussed a little bit. Pretty bad at tennis. I don't know who you're playing tennis with or how often that comes up.
That implies that you're a little good though, too. You know, I'm pretty bad at it too. Fuck it.
Right.
That's also that is that.
Pretty bad at backgammon.
You picked up on it.
Not particularly stylish. I like that that's there because I do believe that some people genuinely don't care, and you should find that person. Eats one Emo's pizza every week.
That's a regional style of pizza that's local to St. Louis that is very controversial. Like Jimmy Kimmel constantly goes on TV and rags about how much he hates Emo's pizza. It's very thin, crispy crust, and it's made with this weird cheese called Provel. And basically only locals like it. But it is the lifeblood of how I get through this horrible, miserable world.
Good. Well, I'm glad you know you're wrong about pizza. Very good.
when Hamda brings up, like, you know, at what point is like, it's all in good fun, but but I hope that it is serious as I'm trying to date you. I don't need you going, you didn't think that was serious, did you fucking dork? I'm like, but we're on a date. I don't know and what else would throw me, by the way, is that never on your site, there should be something that pops up on your site that says Colin is on a date right now. And then I know A, you're wanted. That's sexy. And B, you are taking it seriously. You can't be free always.
Isn't it good that you're not trying to date Keith? Because these are weird rules.
I think people
I think those are both good critiques. I think that I need to get something that like I can tell my phone when I'm on a date and it will change something on the website so that people can follow along live.
Yeah.
And I also think that like it is very funny. Like there's like I obviously use humor as a defense mechanism, but it is serious. And I think my idea of putting those cons up there is that like, you know, we all have things that we think people will like not love about us or will reject us for or whatever. And I wanted to say, like, I'm sick of imagining what those things are. I'm going to put the things I think out there. And then if somebody's like, oh my God, I could never date somebody who's bad at tennis, they can just move right on.
That is so good that you put there. I like when people are honest. I mean, that's one that you have to look. I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit just reading it again. So really glad that you were honest. Another one, and there's only 3 more, but this one I think is important. Thinks he knows everything.
I understand that. My con is it's not that I have to always be right. I just happen to be right most of the time. And people I date should understand that. And they're welcome. Like the people are rolling their eyes, shaking their head. I'm like, that's good. I would like my girlfriend to almost always be right.
I would like to welcome everybody to hear what you sound like when you think you know everything.
Yeah, you can't. So you got to be. This is what I'm saying. You hear that sarcasm, Colin?
Your whole tone is sarcasm. I'm
already being yelled at. That's what you have to keep in mind when you say about your pros and cons. You can't look like an asshole, but you got to tell the truth. Okay, maybe at the lowest 40,000. Is that okay? So it doesn't look like I'm a shithead, but you want all the answers about me.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
Keith's con, under your con, you should put, I always think I'm being yelled at. So are you one of those people? Okay, so thinks he knows everything, meaning if I bring up something, are you going to be like, actually, are you the actually guy? Do you
a little bit. I think
Adam ruins everything.
I don't watch that show, but I'm reading a biography of every US president in order. I love trivial arcane knowledge, and I love to what's called mansplain that to people. I try to mansplain just once a day, get it out of my system, and knowing it's a negative trait. So that's what I mean. It's not like I don't think I'm right about everything. I lose every argument I've ever been in, but I do think that I know all the facts and am generally not afraid to share them, even when I really have not been asked to share them.
Not people aren't asking about the old presidents. What president are you on right now?
I'm on Herbert Hoover, the 31st president of the United States.
Oh my God. I'd take a couple laps with that info.
Wow, it's been a long pandemic. You're getting through that.
You guys don't want to get me started on Herbert Hoover.
I do not.
To stop.
He made the vacuum cleaner. He didn't. That's all the information I wanted.
It was a different Hoover.
Have you thought of finding out information that maybe people are looking for, so you could be that guy instead?
No.
Then you got to look that shit up. I know what I know.
I studied history. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to discover anything new. I'm just learning things that I think are interesting that nobody else does.
Do they say do you ever have a first after the site? Do you ever have on a first date halfway through, you can just tell, oh, you're in it for the gimmick. This isn't going to go anywhere. You know, can you just gimmick me a hand job then behind the building? Does sometimes halfway through you realize you're not here, not to be dramatic. You're not here for the right reasons.
I have not felt like anyone wasn't there for the right reasons. I do think that like there's two categories of people I've been going out with through this. And one is like, they love the bit, they love the attention. They're like extroverted. And so they are there for it being funny and it being a good story, even if it doesn't end up being a good fit. And then the other type of person is like somebody who I think identifies with feeling like the dating apps haven't gone great. And so those people are, I think, generally more like vulnerable and a little more introverted but are definitely also on it as a date. I haven't felt like anyone is just like pranking me. Like, I'm going to go out with you so that I can post about this on Instagram. And you're going to be embarrassed about that. Like, you know, I also wouldn't care. Like I kind of expect that to happen. People are like, aren't you afraid of getting catfish? And I'm like, I'm looking forward to I have made it so easy to catfish me that when I finally show up to a coffee shop for a coffee and it's not the person from the thing, I'm going to be, I'll be tickled by that.
Yeah. I mean, you have your mother's maiden name here. I could not only catfish you, I could steal your identity.
Yeah.
So what do you think in what way has this gone a little bit wrong, where you had to maybe tweak the website or give a little bit more information up front? What did you learn and have to adjust for?
Mostly it's been dealing with the volume, which is crazy.
Really?
For me to be saying.
I don't want to say really like that. I don't
No.
Jesus.
I didn't know.
I feel the same way. So when I launched the website in April, between then and about mid-August, I went on like 7 dates, and, you know, maybe 15 or 20 people contacted me, and that turned into 7 dates. And that was great. And then when I updated the website, I posted it to this Facebook group here in St. Louis called Date Ideas and Things to Do in St. Louis. And it got seen by 400,000 people within 24 hours. And I've been contacted by 300 eligible women at this point.
All right.
And my approach from the beginning, from before the update, was just to like, I've put so much information out there about myself. I haven't been asking for that in return. I'm very open-minded. And if people are responsive in messaging or texting, I'll meet up with them, and they don't have to show me a picture. They don't have to they don't have to share all the same sort of stats that I did. I'll just get coffee with them or grab a bite or something and just see. And if it's, the worst that can happen is it's not a connection. And so I started doing that, continued doing that once it sort of blew up. And then it's like, I've been going on like a date every single day that I've been in St. Louis since like August 20th. And so, yeah, it's at a point where I'm trying to figure out ways to like filter it a little bit and figure out who, how often to go on dates, how to give myself space to think about, dates, have nights where I'm not on dates, and
think about hot chocolate instead of coffee. That might make for better breath.
Yes.
I'm sorry, let me ask something. When I recently dated, I wasn't dating 300 people, but I'm dating enough people where I forget who I told what story to. Do you go, this is a first date and it's everything? I would be confused on a second date if I also had a second date with somebody else. And I'm not being some philanderer. Those are the rules. I'm allowed, but it's tough.
Yeah. I've tried to be open about that. So there's definitely been things where, I was texting, when it first really blew up, I had hundreds of text conversations going, and I had no ability to keep that straight. And so if I ever asked somebody their name twice, or like, what they do for a living or something, I would just say, look, this went viral and I'm texting all these people and they would all say, oh yeah, I know. Like, I'm surprised you responded. I can't believe the attention it's getting, so don't worry about it. And so I try to just be open, very meta. Yeah.
It's very good to know that women still have the no worries about me standards. No. Oh, it's nice that you even text me. You must be busy dating people. Yeah. I'm sorry that you got my name wrong. I should have been more clear by starting with it every time.
Fair enough.
Are you nervous though about all these dates? You're going to be on lower tax bracket all of a sudden because the guy has to pay, right? Although I do see on your site you have a new shirt. It says "Go Dutch or Go Home." I assume you don't wear that on the date, but I don't know.
It might be helpful.
I don't wear the merch on the dates.
Are you really going Dutch with people?
Yes, on the first date, I asked to go Dutch.
I like that.
Ever a turn? You like it? I like it, but
I do like it.
I understand that being a turn off.
I think that's a good gauge, if I may. I think it's a good gauge for, listen, if you already know that I am trying this out, then now I'm buying coffee for everybody. Also, like, I don't believe that.
I'm sorry, one second. Because I have to assume sandwiches get in there and it gets expensive. But okay, if we're only talking coffee, you go Dutch on coffee?
We're talking like dinners.
Right. Okay.
I bought somebody coffee the other day.
Sweet.
I'm a gentleman. No, I chose that because for the first like 7 dates that I mentioned, I was covering everything and that's expensive. And then once it blew up, I was like, everyone kept saying, there's no way you're going to be able to pay for all this. There's no way you're going to be able to pay for all this. And so, I think a lot of younger people, and especially like a lot of my female friends are very open to or even adamant about the idea of going Dutch and it just being equitable financially. And so I like paying for things and buying stuff, for somebody that I'm interested in. And so it's not like I'm from the word go, I'll never buy you anything as long as we know each other. But it's kind of a rule I've made, as long as I'm going on this like frequency and volume of dates, that I am asking people to split the cost.
I like it because I feel like it takes away a lot of the old issues. What do I owe you? And it takes away the I owe you. I owe you a second date. I owe you to be a little bit nicer. I owe you a steak somehow. Like it just sort of takes it for first friend, and then we see if we want to buy each other things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had sex for many of these dates?
Wow, not yet.
Okay. You were in a year-long relationship. Have you had sex before?
Yes.
Just checking. Would you date a transgender woman, Colin O'Brien?
I am open to dating anybody that I make a connection with. Okay. I don't know that what I'll rephrase that in a way of, another criticism I've gotten for the website is that I don't have on there anywhere what I'm looking for or who I'm looking to date. And what I've kind of,
well, you look like an asshole too, right? I bet you look like a piece of shit if all of a sudden you got instructions.
That's why I don't, but I think I'm genuinely open to all different types of people. And so, in my head, like, it's somebody who's roughly my age and hasn't been married before and doesn't have kids. And I think cisgendered is maybe something that's been my past, but like, I don't want to put that on a website, because if somebody reaches out and I have a great time with them and connect with somebody, and they're older, or they're in a different circumstance, or they're from a different town or a different background, or transgender, I don't want to predict the future, and I'm trying to be open-minded and expand my worldview and horizons and stuff too.
And you don't got to prove it to nobody, so just write it. Who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter. I clicked when I was on dating apps. Yeah, fuck. I mean, who cares?
You are so proud of this horrible moment in your life,
because most people don't click that, and Keith Malley does, and it makes
amazing.
It makes women drip.
This is how you can meditate so well. You just like check credit. Like, we're all working on giving ourselves a pat on the back for the small things so that we can continue into bigger things, regular things. But Keith is right there always.
It says you're working towards your MBA. Is that a true story?
Yes.
Are you in college now?
I'm in night MBA school. So like I have a day job and side gigs and stuff, but I go to school at night.
And that's a Master's of Business, A?
Yes. Okay. Administration. Masters of Business Administration.
Ooh, what would you do? Like, what's the goal?
Well, my goal is I think my future is in producing concerts and theater and festivals, and I have a several years of professional background in that already. But I think there's a lot of just business best practices, marketing things, accounting things that you don't learn on the job, which everyone in this industry always just tells you to learn everything on the job. Right. When COVID started, the school, like SLU, where I'm going in St. Louis, waived their GRE requirement and was like giving discounts on classes. They were desperate for students, and it was all going to be virtual. And all my event work kind of died down for a year. And so I said, if there's ever a time that I can do this, it's now.
In your website, in your testimonials, one of the first ones I see is from your mom. My son Colin is a very kind and thoughtful person who would be a lot of fun on a date. Is she giving you any hassle about kids and this kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. She has given me hassle about kids. I love, though, that her testimonial is so milquetoast. She's not, what you want your mom to say is he's my little boy. I can't wait for this special woman. I really wanted her to go crazy and just gush about me. And she said, I think it'd be fun to go out with my son once.
I picture Colin rating her quote, and she's like, I would never say that. Mom, who gives a shit? Okay, but here's one that, if you read this, you would take it more seriously. Colin and I didn't work out because we lived 954 miles away. How'd that even start?
It was a friend of mine who lived in St. Louis, and when we became good friends, and then right as she was moving to the Big Apple, no less, she and I kind of started, that evolved into a new phase, but then it very quickly fizzled out because the distance wasn't going to work.
Right. To be in the greater St. Louis area, she says, and have access to dating the most eligible bachelor in town. This guy will charm you within an inch of. When she starts rating such a good one, are you like, we could try to make it work?
Oh, yeah. But I feel that about every person it hasn't worked out with ever. So
okay.
I just learned to live with that.
This guy will charm you within an inch of your life. And before you know what's happening, sweep you into the elite cultural circles of St. Louis. At the very least, you'll eat at really good restaurants. That's when I got nervous about the money. And at the very worst, you'll have to learn more about American history. Marry a failed romantic interest of Colin's.
Oh, my God. Move to New York and be with Mary.
Mary's the one.
What's happening?
You ever see a movie?
You guys want to know the real tea is that Mary is dating someone, and it's long distance.
Longer.
That was her whole thing.
Oh, goodness!
It's just funny how it works. It's silly.
It is.
Now, what's this? There's a quote here. Here's the perfect guy for my daughter. Laura McGee, whose daughter has refused to date Colin.
The mom. See if the mom's available.
That's my good friend. My good friend's mom. Right. And it's my good friend that, I think that there's been potential with, but she has disagreed. And I wanted people to know that other people think of me as a potentially good son-in-law or a potentially good date. So the fact that her mom thinks I should date her daughter, I was like, well, I'll get something out of this, if nothing else.
Has there been, how many multiple dates have there been? How many times did you go on a second or third date?
I think there's been probably 4 people so far that I've gone on second dates with. Okay. But I haven't done a third date yet. But it's there's 2. I think there's a couple
that's the fucking date. That's the sex date. They know it.
There's a couple people in the running for a third date.
Okay.
That's good odds, right? I mean, I think you're getting results, right?
Yeah.
Where do you think so. Where do you think it goes wrong after the first date for the most part? Just no spark, or
that's it. It's just feeling no spark. And what's tough is, I think you guys have probably experienced this just as somebody who's talkative and funny and enjoys meeting people or enjoys chit-chatting. I have fun with everybody. And so for me, I really have to go back afterwards and say, did I want to kiss that person or not? Was I attracted to them, or was I just having a good coffee, good, right. A funny meeting and sharing jokes and stuff. So it's when there's no spark, and afterwards you feel a certain, that was fun. But you're not daydreaming.
Right. Yeah. You go on these dates and then you have sex and you just look at the woman and you want to say are we in love now? Well, I don't know what's really happening.
I like that approach, Keith.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Get right to it. Get them to sign on the dotted line.
That's all Keith wants. He's like, "Oh, do we have to keep pretending to you go for the pocket and I actually pay for it?
Right.
Are we
What's
in love?"
happening here? By the way, speaking of your merchandise, and you have the Go Dutch or Go Home shirt, different colors, date Colin O'Brien. And I like that even on the back, you tell your friend, it says, so, everybody can play along. There's a woman wearing one of your Colin hats on here. What's her hello? Give her a call. I don't care if she's a model that works for the hat
stock
company.
Image model.
See what she's up to.
Weird drop shipping service I'm using that they Photoshop the hat onto. So right. I have no idea who that is. That's like that's the episode of The Office where Michael Scott falls in love with the chair model.
Right. I have a question about the merch. Let's say a woman, you get to the third, fourth date, you start getting intimate, and you see that she has on your boxer briefs that say datecolinobrien.com. Is that a turn on or a turn off? I
think it's a turn on.
Good for you. Okay. I like that. I would think so too.
The service I'm using that is like making all this, this white label service that does this merch, because I'm not buying this stuff up front. I didn't think anyone was going to pay for it. They don't have women's underwear. I really wanted women's underwear. And then I wanted to slowly build a catalog, like a calendar, a public calendar of like women and men modeling the Date Colin O'Brien underwear. That's my dream, but I don't have a designer pair of women's underwear with my logo on it yet.
Well, you're in production and you obviously follow through on a lot of things. Have you thought of at least writing down about your experiences, because you're doing like 30 dates in 30 days? This is very kitschy. It's very maybe book eventually.
Yeah, I've struggled with how to memorialize it just because it's so overwhelming to be doing. So I have kind of updated on my TikTok every now and again. And I try to collect some of the better links and stuff about it. But as far as, I'm not doing a great job of keeping track of the dates and themselves and journaling it or whatever, because I'd love to do something like that. But do you guys have any ideas? Is there a tactic I can do to come up with how to record?
Let's worry about a third date first. But just in the meantime, take notes just take little notes each date, I guess.
Yeah. Start your day with journal and end your day with journal, and you can write what you went through and the name and everything. And you have the emails back and forth, which I wanted to ask you about. Do you have like an opening line that stands out, that somebody reached out to you, whether it's good or bad, people start messed up or somewhere where you went wrong and you had to adjust? What are these emails like when people first contact you, other than like, hey, would you be on my podcast?
But the only ones I don't like are when people message me hello or hi, and then I respond hello or hi, because I'm not going to give them anything if they're not going to give me anything, and then they don't respond. The best ones I've gotten are when people really match the absurdity of the website. There's been several people who have like screenshotted the whole website and photoshopped themselves and like their stats over my stats, and like pictures of them over pictures of me. And I love that. And I love a lot of people have been comparing it to The Bachelor and like send me very Bachelor themed, like long texts. Other people, like one person, and apparently she didn't intend to do this, though I don't know if that's true. Like 5 of her friends texted me their testimonials. They were like, you should date so-and-so because of X, Y, and Z. So those are the best. I love it when people are like, see that it's fun and they engage in the fun in the same way.
Man, this is so weird. Like if I had this site, all people would be interviewing me about is how many times I got raped, but good for you. That's really nice. I remember we knew Jessica Watkins was a friend of ours, was going to walk across the US, and she did. And everybody's question was, aren't you afraid that you're going to get raped? Aren't you afraid that something bad is going to happen to you? Look at all the sweet things coming your way, people mirroring your site and such. That is so much fun. To be
I think it's a little bit of male privilege coming through there. I don't know that women would have the same experience putting themselves out there online in this way. I think the internet is a little more predatory towards that, but it has been, I'm very grateful. It has been an experience that's been full of genuine people who have been nothing but nice to me. And when I go and look at articles or talk to people about it, it's almost always nothing but positive feedback, and people say very nice things. And I've only gotten like a few texts of horribly graphic images, and I've only seen a couple of nasty comments, and they're always from men. So I don't take them too seriously.
What do you get from men? Like you're desperate. What will they rate you?
Yeah, men say that it's desperate. Men say that they wish they had thought of it first, or like they'll critique like Colin's, tax bracket. My tax bracket's higher. Somebody I went on a date with, one of the first ones I went on, she was like very public in the comments and on my Facebook post that kind of went viral, and so everyone knew of her, and she was really like posting testimonials from her friends and photoshopping herself into pictures with me as like us being a couple. And so the night after we went on our first date, she went on a date with another person, and she got recognized by somebody, and they said, "Hey, didn't you go on a date with Colin O'Brien?" Like, and she had posted on her Instagram that she was going on a date with me and did a Q&A of like her experience and what it was like. And it made the guy she was out with really mad. And so he pulled the website out and he like went through my stats and was like, "I'm taller than him. I'm in better shape than him. I make more money than him," which I love. I love that so much.
And you found out because she told you?
She told me all that. Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, that's beautiful. And also really I want to know, did you watch her video with the Q&A, and were you nervous watching that?
I didn't. I like skipped through it, but my friend, we were like in a car ride to work together, and like they tapped through it, and there were a lot of questions, and she said mostly everything positive.
What was the not positive?
Too far away. He's 3 blocks away.
Yeah, I don't remember from her review, but I since she had a following in this Facebook group. Some of the people I'm going on dates with are like getting their own little mini viral stuff going because their friends are like hashtag Team Jessica or hashtag Team Shannon or whatever. And so when I texted her and said that I had a great time with her, but I wasn't feeling like it was a romantic connection. A lot of people were criticizing me for texting that. So that was the most critique. That's the most heat I caught. Somebody actually like went onto all my different social media accounts and like was like, "How dare you text somebody?"
Really? So how many dates did you go on?
2.
I don't know. Have you been calling her and talking on the phone in general, or mostly it's been texting?
It's mostly been texting.
What do you think of that?
I think I missed a step.
So there's a woman he went on 2 dates with, and he said, "Hey, I'm not feeling a connection," but it was via text, and he got criticism.
"No, I have to buy you a 4-star dinner." Yeah, that's the end. If that's how you were talking through text, then that's how you're talking.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting fired. We talk about, do I have to come into work to get fired because it's going to cost me a Metro card and some time? Like, send me an email, and then I could sit there and cry or yell or order in. Like, I can figure this out.
If I didn't come anywhere, I think I can text you that we're done.
And my thing is like people, nobody likes to get rejected, even if it's I don't think this person was like heartbroken. I think she was fine with it. But like the pain of a rejection isn't any better if it's over text or in person. Like if you're in person, you still got rejected. They're still going to say, "You jerk. Like, why are you rejecting me?" So like, I always think bad news is bad news.
I'd rather you slid a note under my door. I want to know that you went out of your way, but I don't got to stare at your fucking face. Come into work so I can be fired. You know what? Come on.
Yeah, you come to my apartment and bring the carryout.
Right. How important are politics when it comes to dating? Because I picture if I'm dating and a woman tells me she's anti-vax because Trump won the election, it's like, God damn it. Okay, we're gonna fuck once, but that's it.
I think politics are important to me.
Right.
He's going to tell you the history of everything.
Right.
It's basically politics. Hey, this is going to happen again because it happened in 1952. It happened in right. You're able to actually have these conversations and references.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think the only way America can handle Trumpism is by everyone withholding sex from all Trump supporters. So
I think they already are. Maybe that's why they're so upset.
It does seem like so.
Yeah, the opposite way is what we need to do.
Does a religion matter to you?
I think that I would, at this point in my life, I'm worried about dating someone who is extremely religious. I came from a pretty religious childhood. I'm not offended by people who are religious, and I have a lot of sympathy for religious people. But if somebody was like, "I am like hardcore, this is the number one part of my life, this is what determines all my behaviors," that might be a little overwhelming for me.
I picture a
Love
woman
that
getting mad.
answer.
Love the answer, but I picture them going like, "Oh, you have a website. Please date me, but you can't come to church once a week." Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then you go, "No, don't get me wrong. I have sympathy for you."
Yeah.
Loving Jesus.
How religious was your upbringing? How strict was it?
Oh, it was, well,
It was Muslim, I assume.
Yes, Colin O'Brien, a great Muslim name. No, is what's interesting is my parents converted to Catholicism when I was in second grade, and then my dad got very into like pretty strict Catholic world, and has since kind of moved away from that as the strict Catholic world has become like COVID denying and crazy.
So he still has his logic.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, I'm very proud of him.
When you were in second grade, have you found out what major life change happened in your family, what trauma, in order to lead them to this more intense Jesus Christ moment in their life?
I don't think it was trauma so much as my dad's a very like intellectually oriented, bookish guy, and he was he reads a lot and got into Christian authors that had an impact on him, and then got into Catholic authors that had an impact on him. So it was like, people say how weird it is for someone to convert to Catholicism, and this was like during the darkest days of like Catholicism.
Of all the Christian, it's like the strictest. It has all kinds of crazy rules. But
his path to it was circuitous. It was through like authors he really liked and through their worldview, and that was kind of a little hipster in the Catholic world. And so he got into a very unique like niche of Catholic people and that community. And so we would travel a lot and visit lots of people, and it was fine. My parents, wasn't abusive or traumatic or anything, but it's just like I got to a point where I was like, this isn't going to be the life for me, and I don't know that I would want to go back into that world with a future partner.
I follow. All right. Have you had kisses from these dates since April?
Yes. Nice. There's been kisses.
With tongue?
Yeah.
Nice. Real nice. All right. I'm all for it then. All right. It is weird what do you think kind of that we didn't know people's, I mean, that's sweet. Like, you open your mouth and stuff. I've done that. And it feels really good in my mouth. It is. I was going to say, it's funny how did we not know people's politics way back when before Trump, for example, and now we do? Is it really that different? Is it only going to be? Is life only going to get weirder and weirder and crazier and crazier? Because I know I've literally said this in stand-up where I'm like, you can come out and go days like these literally any year. But isn't it getting crazier and crazy? Like people say, hey, calm down about being so nervous about the virus. 2,000 Americans are dying every day. Did you know I was going to say day? I didn't know I knew people that felt this way. Calm down. Stop with your overreacting.
I was just going to say, I think that's, I think that there is a level of which, like, if you went back to any moment in American history, you like read about the Civil War or something, and like, it was crazier than it is right now. There's been moments that have been more absurd and that people have been more divided or more, there's been more not, that it's been darker.
Sure. I guess I mean, what I
was building to was just to say that I think that before Trump, it was less intense, and it has gotten crazier, but I do think that the future can hold a less intense and a less crazy time. I think it changes.
Maybe you're the person to ask this, because I recently thought about a similar, in the same vein, and it feels like a war is coming. Do I just feel that because I've been quarantining for so long, and there's this weight of pandemic, and there's the division on social media, and even our news, the stations are divided and giving misinformation. In your knowledge of history, is this the kind of history that is leading to another war?
I think not like a real war with like armies. I think that what was happening before the Civil War was a lot different than the world that we live in now. But lots of people talk about how we're kind of in an ideological or like a Cold War of kinds, where there really are is like, the logistics of like Trumpers and Democrats or liberals or whatever, like having a war. It wouldn't work in the world that we live in. But like, obviously people are like violent and hateful, and that communities are forming around that. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm just a fan of history with a bachelor's degree in it, so I can't.
No.
Don't just tell me you wasted my time.
You know everything. You've been.
Yeah, I do know everything.
This.
I think when people say there's going to be a civil war, I think they're wrong. And I think that if you read about the Civil War, it was worse. But I also just think that if you think about the mechanics of doing something like that, like the antebellum United States was like there wasn't the internet, and there weren't interstate highways, and there weren't like planes and things like, so
you
stuff
say
like that.
But we surpassed the amount of deaths in the last pandemic, and that was pre all that stuff also.
Yeah.
But if we get into this further, Keith will want to kill himself because he's like, oh, I just was asking this question just to kind of lightheartedly talk about potential war. But what
I'm excited for is when I post the link to this to my friends and family, and they all listen and they're like, why were you talking about that?
What
about your dating website?
What is the best war if you had to pick one? World War II or the Civil War?
Right now, I mean, it's being on Herbert Hoover. I've been reading a lot about the First World War, which nobody cares about.
Not
really. Nobody ever talks about it.
Right.
And I think it's very, very interesting. I think it's very interesting because it kind of sets the stage for World War II, and you can see the echoes of World War II in it. And so that's what I'm interested in. Right. I'm interested in World War I.
Did you see the movie Free State of Jones with Matthew McConaughey?
No, I haven't.
You should. It's great. And that's the Free State of Jones segment. I see, speaking of social media, a FedEx driver was fired because he, on TikTok, and this is real. He didn't just put on a FedEx shirt. It's a real employee that got fired. He said he doesn't deliver packages to people with Biden or Harris flags in their yard. That he will not deliver your package there. So I get nervous with stickers all the time. My buddy Matthew Bray offered me his car on a trip I had to take, and I saw it had a it had a Bernie sticker on the back, and I was pro Bernie, but I'm like, God, I know I gotta drive through Trump area, and I'm like, oh no, did you need to do that? It's these flags really tell people something. It gets people riled up, and I might not get a package at best. It seems.
You want to know one sticker that all Americans support seeing on your car?
Please tell me. I hear you can get them. You can get them from a website. What's that?
Yeah, the DateColinO'Brien.com sticker.
All right. Here's a story. A man punches nurse in the face multiple times after his wife is vaccinated for COVID.
Oh my God. This is the stuff I'm talking about.
Police are looking for a man in Canada. They say punched a nurse in the face multiple times, knocking her to the ground after she administered a COVID-19 vaccine to his wife without his permission. So she wanted it. He found out she got it and then punched the nurse for not asking him for permission, which of course isn't necessary.
Well, what's weird is until that moment, he was a completely sane person who was making all good decisions. But wow, that nurse must have really been a cunt.
Right at the beginning, the suspect was very angry, very aggressive. He asked the nurse why she vaccinated his wife without his approval and punched her in the face multiple times. So the nurse didn't have time to defend or explain herself. First of all, what are you going to explain? She wanted the vaccine.
Aren't these the people who are afraid of Sharia law coming to the United States?
Right.
And men controlling their wives.
She fell to the ground. Suspect left running. Well, they're gonna if you gave a COVID shot to the wife, I think you're gonna be able to hunt down the husband. I'm gonna guess.
Right. Also, why are you running? You just did the right thing, right?
Right. Yeah, well, we know society, and we're not idiots.
Sure, Biden. Yes, of course.
The nurse was taken to a nearby hospital by ambulance, where she was treated for multiple injuries to the face. This took place in Canada. Vaccination rate of almost 70%. We have 15% less than that. I saw in Staten Island. By the way, where are those vampires to take care of this? Dozens of anti-mandate activists have entered a vaccinated-only food court in Staten Island, chanting "USA, USA." And
oh, look, they know where they are, and that's a start.
And I saw somebody post, they're not asked to show vaccine cards, despite a sign at the entry stating it's required. Food court is letting anyone eat, regardless of the vaccination status. No shit. I'm the guy in charge of the food court, and a whole group with big American flags that belong on top of a school building are walking in USA and right this way. What am I gonna do?
Right,
sirs, ma'ams, and others. There's no others here. Okay. Anyway, right this way.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're the first person that somebody sees in your business is the bouncer.
Right.
And that used to just be the host of a restaurant. It just used to be the greeter at Abercrombie saying, "Hi, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Now they got to tell you what to do. I just imagine that, because I remember working in retail. I was a teenager and I was just like, well, I guess that's happening. There's only so much I can do. Anything goes wrong, I'm just like, I don't do that.
How much is horse dewormer compared to free vaccine shots?
Horse dewormer?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the secret out there? I got all the shots, by the way, Colin. Every vaccine they make.
Good for you.
I made $4,000. There's a lot of incentives out there. I'm dizzy and on pins and needles all the time, but you can sneeze right in my mouth. I don't give a fuck. All right, so here's what you do. You go to datecolinobrien.com, and just 2 suggestions I have. Up to you is the one where when you're on a date, it should advertise you're on a date. Let me get nervous that I bought tickets too late. You know what I mean? Then it goes, he's back from his date. It was the 6th. And then I'll be going, I get another chance. Do that. And what I would do is, whether it's from this show or somewhere else, I would put a video clip of you, because I couldn't help, sorry to say, to think that you must just be a mess. You must be a nerd that can barely talk. I happen to have a face that looks much better when it's moving slightly. I think a video shows you have a sense of humor. You seem normal to me. I didn't expect that. I didn't know where this was going to go. I would say a little bit. What do you think, Hemda?
You know what? Weird to say, but you're a lot more charming than I expected, because I guess there is that sense where if you're dating, if you're putting up a website for this and you've had so much bad luck, it's you. It's the fact that you know, maybe your social skills aren't up to par with like what you need for this weird dating society. Like, it's a weird conversation that you have to have over and over again. Didn't expect for you to be very cool.
I mean, who doesn't like Weird Al? But your social media is a handle that includes Weird Al fan. All of this together would make me nervous. And even in the mic check, I'm like, oh, this guy's a normal dude.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You in the mic check, I was a normal dude, so it's not an act.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, right away, like after meeting you for 2-3 minutes, I'm like, okay, I can see where this interview is going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? Put this podcast right up there. People could listen to it. They have this idea of who you are. Yeah.
I think that's great feedback, and I appreciate the kind words.
I do have to know, after looking at your merch site, are you wearing what shorts are you wearing right now?
Oh, I'm just wearing like pajama pants.
Okay. Well, you have nice boxer shorts over here, so take a look at them.
Would you like to show the YouTube watching audience what the pajama pants look like?
They're very boring. They're black.
Uh-huh.
There you go, everybody.
Okay, so not even plaid. Got it. Okay.
I'll tell you something, ladies. I just saw his feet. Nice, aren't you?
You just saw my feet. Those feet. Those ladies on the internet who are just obsessed with pictures of men's feet. That's a big thing.
You know what'd be funny? Also, you rate on your site at the top, no weirdos, please. That'd be funny.
I want weirdos. I just want cool weirdos. Cool weirdos only.
So the best way, I assume, to reach out to Colin is right there on the site. He does see it. It's not a joke. What do we hit? We hit the about, or we hit get involved? Oh, start a conversation right there on every page.
Yeah.
You could send a text. Is that your home phone number? Is that your main phone?
That is my personal cell phone number.
Nice.
I thought it was some sort of relay. Wow.
No, it's real.
You are the realist.
What's your voice message? Is there one?
It's like Colin. This is my cell phone. You know, I don't know. It's like I haven't changed it since I made this.
Okay, so it doesn't say like, if you're my boss or you're trying to date me, please leave a detailed.
Nope.
I thought you should switch it to like, hey, it's Colin, get in line.
The Twitter account is Weird Al Fan 2727. That's his Instagram as well. The Facebook is Colin O'Brien ICB. What does ICB stand for?
I think we lost him.
Did we just coincidentally lose him?
Oh,
there we go.
He's back. Okay.
What does ICB stand for in your Facebook handle, Colin O'Brien ICB?
Oh, yeah, I haven't. I should change that. That's in high school. This is a good story that is similar to my website. There was another kid named Colin, and his girlfriend called him Col Bear. And everyone thought there was like a group of people who were bullying me by saying that I was inferior to him. And they were calling me the inferior Col Bear or ICB. And so I decided to just make that my nickname. And so then in high school, my nickname was ICB.
Yeah, I like that. Stupid. Yeah, no, you own it. My handle is Keith Big Piece of Shit. It's like jokes on them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, say hi on datecolinobrien.com if you're into it.
I didn't realize.
Sorry.
I need a media team to like go through all my handles and make sure they're up to date.
Right.
Here we are. Yeah.
Colin, very nice meeting you. Thanks for your time. This sounds exciting. What I would like you to do, if you don't mind, is email info@keithandthegirl.com when you get a third date. I want to be on top of this, if that's okay. All right.
I will. I'll keep you up to date.
Colin, thank you very much. And don't forget, everybody, if your life is in shatters or tatters, take a look at OMAD a little bit. I think you're going to dig it a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.